2018 draft wasn't all that long ago. The 3 quarterbacks of the 5 taken in round 1 who have become pass on the pass-fail side, because really that's all that matters the first 3 years. Pass or fail. Josh Rosen, fail. Not entirely his fault, but clearly fail. Sam Darnold, how could it not be fail? He got traded to the Carolina Panthers. He could still flip that F to a P, but for now, we're not thinking about his second contract. We are thinking about second contracts for the other 3 guys taken in round 1 that year. Baker Mayfield of the Browns, first overall selection. Josh Allen of the Bills, 7th overall pick. And then with the final pick in round 1, it was the Ravens trading back in to get quarterback Lamar Jackson, who was the 2019 NFL MVP. Not a bad way to cap your second season in the National Football League. So now this dance continues of who's going to get paid, who goes first. I continue to believe that the 2 guys who have agents, traditional agents, Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen, they want to let Lamar Jackson go first. We reported over the weekend that the negotiations, even though there's a lot of confusion and I think some incorrect reporting about who's involved in the negotiations, for example, Lamar Jackson's mother isn't negotiating on his behalf. Jackson is the one who's doing the negotiation, and he's being advised by others. But those negotiations moving smoothly, I think he's the first one to do the deal. I think the Bills and Josh Allen need to do a deal because, like Jackson, I think it's clear now that Josh Allen is a top 10, if not top 5 quarterback. And you do have to ride that guy as long as you possibly can. That's the Ravens' attitude with Lamar Jackson, and I think it is, or at least should be, the Bills' attitude with Josh Allen. This is our guy. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to get a contract in place that we believe is appropriate, is fair, and that sends the message, this is the guy for the foreseeable future and beyond. The Ravens definitely feel that way about Jackson. The Bills, as I said, should feel that way about Josh Allen. With Mayfield, there's some thought in league circles that the Browns would like to give it one more year, even though it's a calculated risk. Because let's say Mayfield wins the MVP in 2021. And when you think about how MVP gets determined, 1 seed in each conference, the quarterback of the 1 seed, that's the guy who has the inside track. 2 guys have the inside track, AFC 1 seed quarterback and NFC 1 seed quarterback. If the Browns end up taking the number 1 seed, and look, the AFC is very top-heavy this year, so it's by no means an easy proposition. But if they end up there, Mayfield's got a good shot at being the MVP. And he was great the second half of last year as the Browns ascended. If the Browns wait a year, and if Mayfield ends up being one of the truly best quarterbacks in the NFL, it's going to cost a lot more next year to get him signed than it would this year. The question becomes this: what would the Browns pay this year, and how close is that to what Mayfield wants? Mayfield has always been very confident in himself, and that's great. You need that to thrive at the NFL level. How big of a gap right now is there between the Browns' willingness to pay and Mayfield's expectations? It may just be that they can't find a way to make the 2 sides come together this year, and they have to wait a year. And that's a gamble for Mayfield. If Mayfield says no to that bird in the hand, that bird could shrink by next year if he gets injured, if he has a rough season, if he regresses. And the reason that this is all relevant, the 2 contracts done for the 2016 number 1 and number 2 overall picks, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. 3 years after their careers started, they got their second contracts. 2 seasons after doing those second contracts, their teams, and look, we don't even have to, I mean, it's a given. They regret it. We don't have to put anyone under a lie detector test to get to the truth. Clearly they regret it. The Eagles traded Carson Wentz to the Colts, and the Rams tucked Jared Goff into the Matthew Stafford trade, and as a practical matter, gave up a first-round pick to get that contract off the books. So that is the cautionary tale. And I thought it was funny back in May when Browns GM Andrew Berry said it's not a cautionary tale, those contracts, the Wentz and the Goff contracts. It is. It is. And I think the fact that Berry said it isn't is kind of an effort to obscure the reality that the Browns are going through that analysis. Very heavy on analytics. And When you focus on that aspect, you understand more than any other team that your players really are interchangeable parts. And the question becomes, if we pay Baker Mayfield what he wants, that's one approach. The other approach, with all these great quarterbacks coming out of college every year, could we do dollar for dollar a lot better at the quarterback position? Mayfield at whatever his magic number is, rookie at a slotted deal for 3 years before you get into what the next round of financial compensation is. Don't be surprised if it goes that way. Don't be surprised if Mayfield wants so much that the Browns say as a business proposition, we're not doing it. They're facing that challenge in the coming year with Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs in the NFL. But you know what? You can find another Nick Chubb in round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round undrafted. There are plenty of running backs out there every year. It's part of the challenge. And it's one of the problems of having a great team. It's easy to be driven by analytics and that type of analysis when you don't have star players. When you do have star players, when fans are invested in those players, when fans have purchased the jerseys of those players, it becomes a lot harder to treat them like the interchangeable parts that a team that is so driven by analytics would prefer to do.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.